Ja. Willkommen zurück zu Paranormasight, The Seven Mysteries of Honjo. Starten wir mal das Game. Ja, wir hatten Shogooki durch. Haru Shigima hatten wir noch nicht komplett durch, aber ihre Story endet jetzt erstmal. Und das ist ja jetzt, wo wir zu Tetsuo Tsutsumi müssen, um seine Story zu erfahren. Das ist ja da, wo wir jetzt hinwollen, beziehungsweise, ja, hin müssen. Dann gehen wir mal zu Crime Scene Investigation. Crime Scene Investigation dazu. Okay, das habe ich keinen Bock jetzt vorzulesen. Ich lasse es einfach mal ein bisschen. Ich will selber lesen. Tut mir leid. Meine Stimme ist so ein bisschen angeschlagen und ich werde noch viele vorlesen müssen heute, deswegen. Entschuldigung. Starten wir mal. Das hätte ich jetzt eigentlich vorlesen können, ne? Die doofe Kuh. Naja, egal. Hey boss, forensics is all done. The crime scene is clean. The other officers have all gone home. It's just us now. The park should be able to open back up tomorrow like nothing ever happened. I doubt I'll get many visitors after everything that's happened. You'd be surprised. Lots of people love that kind of thing. I bet they'll be lining up to get in. Occult stuff is really popular right now. Did you not know that, boss? Sounds stupid. Well, it's not exactly rooted in science, but if ghosts really did exist, we could just ask them who the perp is. Somehow I doubt it be that simple. Oh, but you know, I've heard that high school girls are really into this spirit board thing these days. Supposedly, you can call in spirits and talk to them by using a board with letters on it. Wouldn't that be something? You can try it out yourself if you're so interested. Hey, that's not a bad idea. Let's give it a go sometime, boss. What now? Stop messing around. You really think we're gonna solve this case by moving a coin across a scrap of paper? Sounds like you know all about it. We've got to be open-minded, but if that's how police work is gonna be from now on, don't make me laugh. Ja, es sollte Polizeiarbeit sein, ne? Oh, das ist ein süßes Spiritboard. Das war noch vom letzten Mal. Listen up, Irio. You can't go blaming the death of your buddy on something like the occult. I don't care if it was ghosts or the occult or what. Whoever or whatever it was that did this, I get them. I promise you that. Keine Versprechen, Junge. Well, you've got the right attitude, but we don't even know if this is a murder yet. Biases weaken our judgment. Get too fixated on one thing and you stop seeing everything else. Aye, boss. So, now that we've finished investigating the scene, let's review what we know. Now? It's getting late. I figured we'd head straight home from here. Come on! We've got to go over all the info we've gathered. And what better place to do that than here at the scene of the crime where we can soak up the atmosphere? Soak up the atmosphere? The hell is there to soak up? You must be really into this occult stuff if you get off on being in a place like this. Wait, you mean being somewhere like this doesn't get your blood pumping? No way. No, don't turn this around on me. I'm not the weird one here. Cripes. Ah, fine. Let's get this over with. Aye, boss. The former Yasuda Gardens here in Yokoyami Ishum were originally built as part of a daimyo's estate back in the Edo period. The park became city property a number of years ago and underwent extensive renovations. There's not a soul around at this time of night. Quiet doesn't even begin to describe it. This is where the victim was found. It's clean now. It almost feels like nothing happened here at all. But once an incident like this has come to pass, there's no going back. Not that knowing that is any consolation. Ich will das jetzt nicht so stören. Weiß nicht. Ah, pond. This pond, they say it used to flow into the Sumida River, but the river became so polluted that they cut it off. Okay, we have everything. I think so. Vielleicht wissen wir ja mehr. Jun Ario, a detective in the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department, 1st Investigative Division. His rank is sergeant. This is his first time leading a case. It's like he's graduated from rookie to newbie. He looks put together on the outside, but acts like a kid most of the time. Honestly, the force could use more people like him. Okay, we're thinking mal. I've got a bad feeling about this case, and my gut is rarely wrong. I knew this would be a treacherous case from the moment we were dragged into it. Okay. About the case. So, early in the morning yesterday, a staff member found the victim collapsed here in the park and called the police when they realized he was dead. While there were no obvious external wounds. The fact that he was a police officer and the evidence of a struggle means it's likely that this was a murder. The Sumida office sent it over to us since it involved the death of an officer and we were tasked with the investigation. What we need to do is figure out what happened and whether there was foul play involved. I think that about sums things up. About the case. But, boss, yeah. Is this case really important enough to assign to someone from the investigation division? I mean, a friend of mine died, so it's important to me, but it's all up to the higher ups. I'm sure they've got their reasons. Boss, you know something, don't you? It'll all become clear in time. Try not to worry about it too much. Thinking about it, the only thing we know for sure is the identity of the victim. That means there must have been something special about him, right? Maybe he knew something he wasn't supposed to, some kind of secret or something. Isn't that right? You're pretty sharp sometimes, you know that. If you've picked up on that, you should be able to put the rest together yourself. Well, it is our duty to get the bottom of a suspicious death, especially one involving an officer. About the victim. The victim is Hajime Yoshimi of the Julian Division of the Sumida City Community Safety Bureau. 27 years old, single. He mostly dealt with cases involving juveniles and education. His rank was senior police officer. You knew him well, didn't ya? What was he like? Yes, we were in the academy together. We still went out for drinks together every month or two. Er sieht irgendwie so ein bisschen Mir leid, so ein bisschen, ja, weiß nicht. Nicht passend für den Job aus. Weiß ja nicht. Dem sein Blick einfach. Der sieht eher aus wie so ein Türsteher. He could be a little rowdy. Ja, das meine ich. But he was like a big brother to us all. He was kind and cared about his friends. For better or worse, he wasn't the uptight type of cop. The man always showed empathy, and I heard he was popular with the locals for it. He treated each and every troubled kid he met with compassion. He had a great track record when it came to rehabilitation. Sounds like we lost a good one. Yes, we did. We truly did. I knew being a cop was dangerous. I knew something like this could happen, but it's never easy when it happens for real. I know the feeling. He didn't seem to care much about climbing the ranks, but he was at the top of our class. Only problem was that he took on so much. He had the most unfinished paperwork too. I always felt we'd need an unusual guy like him to help us solve all our unusual cases. Don't worry, you're plenty unusual yourself. Me? I was the most normal of my classmates. Besides, the real weirdo among us quit the academy a long time ago. There was one even weirder than you. That's about the victim. Hajime was quite the bad boy in school. Apparently, he ended up with the police a lot. He said the officer in charge was good to him, helped him get back on track. The reason he wanted to become a cop was to pay his kindness forward. Said it was the first time he ever took his studies seriously. And that's a good story. Love that kind of thing. Makes me wanna have a drink in his honor. Please don't make fun of my dead friend. Hey, I said in his honor. You should aspire to become the kind of cop people miss when they die in the fight. You say that's like it's a sure thing I'll die. Besides, if I end up biting it, I'm sure you'll be the one who misses me most, boss. Alter, mein Hals. Come on, don't be like that. You'll hurt morale. Well, I guess how much I miss you depends on how the investigation goes. What? I can already see it, Irio. No! Why'd you have to go and get yourself killed? I have no idea what's going on in that head of yours. Das wäre auch merkwürdig, wenn du das wüsstest. Yeah, that's beside to see. I can't wait. You can't wait for your own death? Get it together, kid. Da so eine Wunde, da muss ich mal ein bisschen Creme drauf machen. Sheesh, you really are something. Thank you? About the victim. What about the victim's family? The Yoshimi family is from Kitasenyu in Adachi City, but Hachime's parents died a long time ago. He lived there all alone, no siblings or anything. I went to his house a few times for drinks, but I was surprised. It's this huge old looking place. Like, you know, the kind of place that seems super haunted. Alter. And he lived there alone? It looked like the home of an old noble family. It was hard to imagine him being such a delinquent living in a house like that. Das sind aber meistens die. Das passt schon. There's that bias I was talking about. If he's from an old family, I'm sure things were complicated. That's the bias too. He never talked about any of that, even when we were drunk, so I don't know much about it. Oh, one more thing. Yeah. Hachimi was engaged. He'd been seeing his fiancée ever since they were in school, over 10 years. They just started talking about getting married. What was her name again? He showed me a picture once. She was a beautiful woman. That's so. How terrible for her. But she may know if there'd been anything going on with him lately. We should speak to her. Yeah, his fiancée may have been his only confidant. I'm sure someone at the Sumida Police Department has already contacted her. I'll look into it tomorrow. Nochmal? Hey boss. I looked into the case that Hashimi was running. Oh great, that's the kind of stuff I want to know. What was Hashimi working on the day he died? Well, according to the report from the day before, he had 2 cases involving juveniles. Uh-huh. The first was the suicide of a high school girl who jumped off a building in Kamizawa last week. Ah, yeah, I did hear about that. The girl's name was Michio Shiraishi. She was a second-year student at Komagata High School. But it seems as though Hachime had contact with her even before this incident. Hmm. So she'd been troubled for some time? That's the thing. About a month ago, he happened to see her walking around town. She looked upset, so he stuck up a conversation with her. He was sure there was something bothering her, but she wouldn't tell him about. Must be in trouble at home. That's what he thought too. It seems he visited her home and spoke to her parents, but they said there was no problem, so there was nothing else he could do. Ja, die geben das ja auch zu, ne? And now she's dead. Then it's possible he could have prevented her suicide then. He must have been devastated. Keine Ahnung, was das heißen soll. And that's why he was looking into this Michio Shirashi again. He must have thought that something terrible had happened that drove her to end her life. But ultimately, he never reported the findings of his investigation. I see. And you're thinking that it may have had something to do with his death. Well, have to find out what it is Hajime discovered. Right, let's check with the Sumida Police Department about that tomorrow too. Oh, immer noch nicht fertig mit About the Victim. And what was the other case he was working? Ach stimmt, genau. This one is also related to a Komagata high school student. A troublemaker named Hitomi Okuda. She seems to be the leader of a group of kids who get up to no good. Neither delinquency, fun. She was pretty bad for a while. Multiple charges of destruction of property, assault and battery, you name it. Hachime had been working with her for about 6 months and she was finally starting to open up. Then he met with the girl the day he died. Well, every school's got its problems. But I'm sure he'd be worried about how she'd get on without him. Right, just when she'd finally found an adult she could trust. She might act out without someone to help her get through this. Well, have to make sure the Sumida Community Safety Bureau does their job. But, we can't rule out the possibility that meeting with this delinquent girl had something to do with his death. Then we'll have